We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the February 1st, 2024 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair of the Shawnee County Commission. Joining me today is Commissioner Aaron Mays and Commissioner Bill Rippon. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, if we can go ahead and get started with our first item.
Item 3, consent agenda.
Is there any questions or is there a motion?
I will move that we approve the consent agenda.
Mo-
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed, motion passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business. County Clerk, number 1. Consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning, we've got vouchers totaling $2,236,837.08. A few items of note on there. Under facilities management, paid with the ARPA SLFRF funds, $709,710.80 to Cine and Company is for the courthouse renovations. And noted on that is also that it is 66% complete through December. Under general expense, we have $426,001.92 to Willis Tower Watson. That's obviously for our insurance payments. And then under 911 telephone, $299,125.88 is to Kansas 911 Coordinating Council for the 2024 911 system. So I don't have any questions about it or concerns about this, and I would move for approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Mays.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 2, consider correction orders.
I will move for the approval of the correction orders.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed, motion passes 3-0. On this next item, I would note that it's going to take us a little while to read through, Madam Clerk, so hope you got a glass of water ready. But also, you might note some of the tax exemptions are in their last year or final year, and as they come off the tax exemption, they will then be assessed and paying taxes as they were everybody else. So, Madam Clerk, I'll let you start.
All right, number 3, consider approval of the following renewals of tax exemption incentives for economic development for year 2024. Number 1, Targeson Electric Company, Inc. for a tax exemption incentive for year 1 of 10 years. 2, Hills Pet Nutrition, Inc., Small Paws, for a tax exemption incentive for 3 of 10 years. Number 3, Fairview Grain, LLC, for a tax exemption incentive for year 3 of 10 years. Number 4, Fairview Corn, LLC, for a tax exemption incentive of year 3 of 10 years. Number 5, Global Grain, LLC, for a tax exemption incentive for year 4 of 10 years. Number 6, Frito-Lay, Inc., for a tax exemption incentive of year 5 of 10 years. 7, Reezer's Fine Foods, Inc., Baked Plant Project for a tax exemption incentive for a year of 5 of 10 years. Reezer's Fine Foods, Inc., Salad Plant for a tax exemption incentive for year 6 of 10 years. Mars Wrigley Confectionery U.S. LLC, FKA Mars Chocolate North America LLC, for a tax exemption incentive of year 7 of 10 years. Number 10, Big Heart Brands, FKA Del Monte Foods, Inc., for a tax exemption incentive of year 8 of 10 years. 11, HME, Inc., expansion number 3, for a tax exemption incentive for year 9 of 10 years. 12, Big Heart Pet Brands, FKA Del Monte Foods, Inc., for a tax exemption incentive for 10 of 10 years. Mars Wrigley Confectionery U.S. LLC, FKA Mars Chocolate North America LLC for a tax exemption incentive of year 10 of 10 years. Number 14, Crosswind Pet Foods, Inc. for a tax exemption incentive of 10 of 10 years.
Any discussion on those items?
No.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item B, corrections. Number 1, request to post and fill the reentry coordinator position approved for the fiscal year 2024 budget in the amount of $71,584 for salary and benefits.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. In our 2024 budget request, this was a request for a new position for us. This was a position we used to have several years ago, and we did away with it. We had budget constraints. We were dealing with COVID. We were dealing with a lot of different things to where reentry just was stuck. There was businesses that were closed. There was a lot of different things. So as we reassessed our programs and looked at the direction we're going, we do have a need, and it was approved in our last budget request to put this position in. This position here will work directly with our discharge planner with Armor Healthcare. We'll be working with our community partners such as Vallejo and others. They'll be working with providing many more programs that are evidence-based, work programs, education, drug and alcohol programs to allow us to create the relationships before the inmate, when possible, before they're getting released, so we can have a continuation or a continuity of care, the warm handoff, and being able to do this. This is a much-needed enhancement to our operation, and this money was budgeted or approved for in our 2024 budget. And I stand for any questions you may have.
Questions for Director Cole? I think this is a great addition. I look forward to having more information about this. As you might note, we are going to be doing work sessions with every department on a rotating basis, and so when we come to the Department of Corrections, this is one that we'd like to hear more about.
Absolutely.
So I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item C, emergency management. Number 1, consider approval of $54,891.46 from CIP 24, funding to make the purchase from the TFM Com for radios for the EOC radio refresh project.
Morning, Commissioners. Nelson Castile, Emergency Management. This is the first of several of our CIP projects we're wanting to get done this year. We're doing it as early as we possibly can. Last year, about this time, we ordered some like equipment like that, and it got here about 3 weeks ago. So still got some supply line issues with electronic coming in. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Nelson?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Thank you, Nelson.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Our next item.
Item D, information technology. Number 1, consider approval for the renewal of security monitoring platform through State of Kansas contract, pricing at a cost of $125,765 to be funded by the 2024 information technology budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brandy Biltoft, Information Technology. This is a request to renew our security monitoring software that is on all of our county computers currently. This is an annual renewal, and we originally purchased it in January of 2022. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions? Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 2, consider authorization and execution for contract C-29-2024, reference contract C-70-2023, renewal with Computer Information Concepts for the annual peopleware agreement, which provides support for the hardware and software elements that comprise the tax administration solution platform at a cost of $63,895 with funding from the IT 2024 budget.
Good morning again, Brandy Biltoft, Information Technology. This is our annual renewal for our tax software, to keep our tax software updated. Our tax software is currently used by our appraiser's office, our treasurer's office, as well as our clerk's office. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have about this request.
Questions? I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item E, Health Department, number 1, request approval of out-of-state travel to attend the 2024 National Institute of Government Procurement Leadership Summit in Houston, Texas, for one Shawnee County Health Department staff member from from February 22nd to the 25th, 2024, with an approximate total cost of $1,225.15 to be paid by the Kansas Department of Health and Environment Workforce Development Grant.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher, Director of the Health Department. Sorry, that was a mouthful for that request. This is for one of our newest leadership members to attend this leadership summit. This will be an opportunity for her to grow. She's in the emerging leaders, which is kind of at the first section of that. She did receive a scholarship prior to employment with us, and so we would be picking up the rest of this, but this is in her area of expertise for her job with us. Again, this will be funded through the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, the new workforce development grant we received. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Is this something that's being encouraged across the state of Kansas for different people to go to, or is there going to be other people from the state of Kansas going to this? Do we know?
I truly do not know, Commissioner Cook. I was not familiar with this until she came to our department. This is a new area that I'm learning what it's all about.
Okay. Other questions?
No, the scholarship answered my question. I was thinking $1,200 seems pretty cheap for, meals and a hotel and airfare or whatever, so, I'll move for approval.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Mays.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Thank you.
Commissioners.
Our next item.
Item F, Election Office, number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2024-7, authorizing the destruction of ballots in accordance with statutory requirements.
Good morning, Commissioners. Andrew Howell, Shawnee County Election Commissioner, here to request a resolution and authorization to destroy ballots as required by law. You may or may not know, but every 6 months we're required to destroy the ballots that we are required to store for county, city, school district, and township ballots, and then every 22 months for state and national elections. So just asking basically for authorization to do that for this year.
Mr. Howell, there's been some discussion, haven't there, through some other districts about whether or not there should be the destruction or not. I know statutorily, this is what the statute calls for us to do. Is there any reason for us not to follow the statute, which is generally, you will follow the law?
Yeah, I think I think there are some people that would prefer to keep them longer than that. But again, our mandate at the county level and at the election office is to follow statutes. So we're pretty precise in following statutes because we think that's a good practice and it's what the law requires.
I think it's a good idea to follow the law. So, all right. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Mays,
Second.
second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Thank you. Our next item.
Item G, Sheriff's Office, number 1, request to purchase from Shawnee Mission Ford 6 2024 Ford all-wheel drive sport utility vehicles off of state contract number 53136. The total purchase is $300,022. Request to pay $301,000 out of the 2024 capital outlay fund, and the balance of $7,022 out of the budgeted funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Under Sheriff Hubler, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. As our request during the 2024 budget cycle was to continue to refresh, try and keep our first responding vehicles mileage as low as we possibly can. We continue to work to maintain those vehicles as best we can, but eventually they mile out. This will just help us refresh our fleet. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I think the question we probably all have is, will we get them? And if so, when?
Interesting, because we had to put the order in well before the beginning of the year. We consulted with Audit Finance that we could go ahead and put the order in. We weren't agreeing to purchase at that point. We did get the build. They have VIN numbers assigned to them, and we have been assured that they will be built. Question of when they will be delivered is a whole other question.
Okay. And then do we actually pay for them before we get them, or do we pay for them upon receipt of the vehicle actually getting here?
Upon delivery, sir.
Okay. Other questions?
Yeah, so how are these prices coming in compared to what we budgeted for?
I believe they're coming in about what we thought they were going to be. Some different manufacturers and models saw a higher increase. We were fortunate that the state contract bid came in for the Ford Interceptors, which is what we've been currently purchasing, stayed fairly steady.
So we did look at other, Dodge and Chevy and whatnot also.
We continue to look at all manufacturers to see where the best value for us is, and the SUV seems to be the best value for our area and the type of work that we do.
Okay, great.
Might note that the base price is $41,212, and with all of the additions, we're at $51,337 per vehicle.
Is that with the upfitting?
Yeah.
Or
There-
is that just basic
Sorry.
Ford stuff that they put on there?
Sorry, a good piece of that is pre-wiring that makes when we do our outfit that our mechanics don't have to run completely new wires throughout the vehicle. Those types of things and some other items that just make it more user-friendly.
Okay, well, I know the wiring is like the most complex part of a police car, it sounds like, so.
I would encourage anyone to come look at the wiring that goes on in a first responder vehicle. You would be amazed at some of the work that our employees do. They do great work.
Okay. Other questions?
I'll move for approval.
I will second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item H, Commission, number 1, consider the appointment of Fred Hatton to the Topeka Shawnee County Public Library Board of Trustees by Commissioner Cook.
I had an open position for the Topeka Shawnee County Public Library Board, and moved to appoint Mr. Patton to that. Is there a second?
I'll second. Unless he already did.
No, I haven't.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 2, consider the appointment of Tracy Hicks to the 3rd Judicial District Nominating Commission by Commissioner Cook.
My appointee to the 3rd Judicial District Nominating Commission is coming to a close. That's Chief Randall Phillips. I want to thank him for having served for the last 8 years on that Judicial Nominating Commission. And I'm going to move to appoint Tracy, otherwise known as TD Hicks, to that board. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 3, consider appointment of Rosa Cavazos to the Shawnee County Planning Board by Commissioner Cook.
My appointee, Brian Aubert, has also served a number of years on the Shawnee County Planning Board, and I want to thank Brian for all of his time on the board and a lot of things that he saw and undertook, going from a comprehensive plan all the way up to wind and solar, and so I want to thank him for his time on the board, and I'm going to appoint Rosa Cavazos to replace him. Second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, consider appointment of Chad Gidhart to at-large on the Shawnee County Planning Board.
The present at-large member is David Linderman. Mr. Linderman had sent in a letter of resignation to the board, and Mr. Gerhart is willing to serve as an at-large board appointment. And I think that he is well qualified and to serve as at-large position. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 5, public comment.
I don't know if there was anybody signed up when we got started, but if there is anybody that wishes to speak, you are more than welcome to approach the podium. Please do state your name when you get to the podium, so the clerk may record it.
My name's Henry McClure. I'm a resident of Topeka in Shawnee County. I live just down at 5th and Adams, across from Amtrak. Due to the new zoning that they did where you can renovate commercial buildings and live in them, we took advantage of that. So I'm enjoying being a downtown resident. I'd like to talk about economic development, and I'd like to talk about trying to, as you mentioned the other day, Commissioner Cook, kind of rein in my insanity and channel it.
I like your energy.
No, I respected that. So what I really want to do is go back to the beginning, and I really liked the consultant, because we always have to hire a consultant. But this consultant said, you know, we need to have shovel-ready land. But this is back in the beginning of the birth of Go Topeka and the birth of the sales tax. And the genesis of this, originally, I went out and lobbied to get the people to renew the quarter-cent sales tax that we had to, for the law enforcement center. And so as time marched on, the consultant said, hey, you have to have shovel-ready land. You're missing lots of opportunities because you don't have surfaces, utilities, everything to the premises to develop. So in the beginning, the shovel-ready land idea is kind of where I think about it as a real estate developer. The faster I can get somebody into a deal, so I bought into that whole thing. That's the beginning of the resentments. Because I don't think today we're really sticking to where we started. And I think as a community, we really need to take a step back and let's follow the law. Let's look at the interlocal agreement, what we all voted on, and you could say it's about job creation, but the law that we all voted on, it was economic development, infrastructure, and quality of life. So the other day when I was fortunate enough to promote the idea of tearing down the Travelers, I thought that met every one of those. And I was disappointed that we didn't get approval for that. And one of the reasons I'm here is because I want the opportunity to present at JEDO. And not so much at public comment, but I want to bring forward a new idea. And that's very difficult in Topeka, to try to introduce a new idea from an outsider that's a very independent thinker and quite often looked at as totally insane. So the idea is to create a new way of doing economic development as far as engaging more of the people. So I'm a business. Each real estate agent, broker, developer, anybody licensed, we're our own business. And I talked to the Board of Realtors, and there's 650 realtors that are a member of the Topeka Board of Realtors. And so that's 650 businesses. And so if I need something done, you know, I've got to hire somebody for my fancy graphs and documents, and I've actually done that since last time because I wasn't smart enough to think you'd read your emails, but it was said right in the note, bring your presentation in hard copies. And I missed the boat on that. but I'm a young man, and Babe Ruth said half a win and is just showing up. So I'd like to show up again with a presentation of why we engage all the realtors in the community. Because if we can create an even playing field for everybody, so if we're all individual businesses, it's always been not how hard do you work, but how hard does your network work for you? Well, the 650 people, we all live by commission. So we have to work harder. There's 650, they don't eat if they don't make a deal. I told somebody, the next deal, I'll get some trousers. We'll get fully suited. But sometimes you've got to live humbly when you're not making deals. And so the thought of the carryover money from the last meeting, well, if there's $5 million in carryover money, that means we're not making deals. And I do have an axe to grind about the amount of overhead that we spend to create, 1.9 million of the grant. If somebody walked in today and said, well, look, I want a $5 million grant to do something today, they're just new people, and I'm going to tell you 39% of the money is going to go to overhead, you're going to send them packing. So the alternative, and for the first time, a very powerful person, he said, I'm going to talk to Matt about the bloated overhead at Go Topeka. And I said, thank you. And for the first time, what's your solution? Well, I took a step back, and I laid out my plan. And I want to try to lay out to you. So if we engage 650 new warriors or create a system that 650 businesses, so every deal I've ever done has never gotten any assistance, personally from the economic development money. So if you follow the law, is in the interlocal agreement, does it even say you could really fund a group like your contractor or Go Topeka? Does it say you're able to do this? I'm telling you, I watched a comment about Davy Crockett the other day, and he's saying, look, we shouldn't do the social program because what if you had to pay for it yourself? Would you do it if you had to reach into your own pocket? So we've got the Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce that's controlling everything. And so there's an inherent conflict of interest when the people that are doling out the money and own the land to who they're going to help, because they've got to justify their existence. It's just like if you want to get reelected, at some point in time at the ballot box, you guys got to justify why we should reelect you. And so I didn't vote for Go Topeka. I voted for this idea to create economic development, infrastructure, and quality of life. But it seems like nothing I've done has matched that. So if we change the tune that our money goes in for economic development and or infrastructure, today we're boiling water. We're living in a third world country. We're boiling water, and it's not your fault up here, but or is it? But there's infrastructure that's so far behind in the water department. If we just took all the uncommitted money that doesn't have any strings to it and just gave it to the water department, we might be better off. And as long as we don't operate like New York and California, there's a point in time certain that Topeka, and that's the way we got to look at it. If we just treat ourselves like a tourist town, people are gonna wanna come here and stay here. But the corporate welfare that we gave Walmart and the Mars family is the last people. So you can say at face value, well, that created jobs. But I was born July 13th, 59, 19,800 people in the city. Today we got 126,000. We did not grow. We didn't do what the sales tax was to do. We didn't grow our population. And so we need to grow our population so you've got more people to appoint to the boards. I mean, a friend of mine was telling me the other day, he goes, man, if you look at there's people on so many boards, we got to introduce some new people. We got to introduce some new ideas. And that's why I think the 650 businesses and all the jobs they're going to create, hire them to list the land that is entitled to go to Topeka. And I don't even think that they should have title to it. Why should a third unrelated party have title to the land? And then if we create a structure that each one of these 650 people could come forward and say, hey, look, I need some infrastructure, put the money in the dirt. Economic development starts in the neighborhoods. So what I want to ask you, Commissioner, because I think you're probably the chair now of JETO, being the chairman of the commission, you'll probably be the chair. So I want the opportunity to bring this idea forward, to engage all the real estate professionals in this community to help with the economic development and basically defund an organization that needs to pivot. Somebody ought to hire the head of that organization, either the city or county, and give them office space because of all the knowledge they've got over time, but also too, the chamber can fund that group if it's such an important thing to have. But the voters and the taxpayers, we didn't elect Go Topeka, we elected you, we come to you right now and say, we gotta do things different. And I'll bet you $1 I can get more people on my side on this idea. Everybody's always worried about retribution. I was a treasurer for a guy that ran for public office last election cycle, and there were so many people that didn't want to donate because of the retribution of Topeka. Well, I don't care anymore. I'm already that insane dude that, he's out there. And I wonder if I can channel this energy. I've got 44 years in real estate, 40 years in commercial real estate. All my business has been putting people in business, from the mall business. Went to work for the guys that own White Lakes. They became the third largest mall owner in the country. And if we start looking at our community like a mall and what we had to do, everybody used to pay percentage rent. So let's look at percentage rent like taxes. What is percentage rent? That based on the base sales. So it was our obligation to put in people that did more business. You just didn't want to get base rent, you wanted to get percentage rent. So let's look at percentage rent like sales tax, and we need to grow our tax base through sales tax. What a better way to do it? And we can do the whole thing pay as you go on CIDs. The CID is a beautiful way to develop, and everything then is deal by deal. And then everybody's got an even playing field. So I'm asking, thank you for the time. I've kind of rambled on. Thank you for this was good therapy for me. I appreciate it. So I'm going to ask you guys for the opportunity to come forward at the next JETO meeting. I made some open records requests to the city and the county. I thought they would know that number off the top of my head, or their head. But what is the amount of money that sits in the bank that's not committed to any strings? It's uncommitted, it's just sitting there. We could write a check to somebody. But let's look at it this way. Charity starts at home. let's look at economic development, starting in the neighborhoods. Let's worry about our own infrastructure. Let's make it to where we don't have to boil water. Let's make it where Topeka's just a great place to live. I left for 18 years. I didn't hate it when I left. And my goal is to make Topeka a place that my daughter would like to move back to from Kansas City. I'm getting younger. I'm feeling better, taking care of myself. You guys are gonna have to outlive me, and we'll see about that. I love you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Any administrative comment?
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. Just like to remind the Commissioners that we are officially in February. We're done with January, that horrible month. And this Saturday, February 3rd, HHW Saturday Collection Event from 9 until noon. Come on out, drop off your household hazardous waste or your e-waste. It's all free, with the exception of CRT monitors or TVs. Those are now $40 a piece for this year. But come on out from 9 until noon. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other administrative communications? Madam Clerk?
Number 7, executive session.
There is a need for an executive session. The counselor has handed me the exact language so that make sure that we follow the law. I move that we recess into an executive session for a period not to exceed 45 minutes for the following 2 items. 1, consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, specifically to discuss contract negotiations with the golf pros. And number 2, to discuss data relating to financial affairs, trade secrets of corporations, partnerships, trusts, and individual proprietorships. And please note that Molly Howie with Go Topeka will be participating in this portion of the executive session, and Stephanie Moran will also be joining her. Again, this is not to exceed 45 minutes, and this is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? We are approved 3-0. We're going to go into executive session starting at 9:45. We are back from executive session. No actions taken. We are adjourned.